Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar. Today I'm glad you were able to make it. We're going to be going over today how to turn your business into an automated money machine. So this is going to be one of the most important topics that you might learn about in business. By far one of the most essential and important topics because it's what frees you up the time to run and operate your business. Look, the biggest problem that most people have in running and operating a business is they don't have enough time. They get to a point where in the beginning it's just them. They start doing and taking on a lot of tasks, and then eventually they get to a point where they don't have any more time, and they hire employees, and sometimes the money isn't there to hire more employees, and all of a sudden the business owner quickly finds themselves up against a wall. They're not able to really grow the business because they're in the business trying to maintain and work within the business, and there's not enough time to ever really grow the business. So there's a lot of problems with not having enough time to be able to efficiently not only operate, to be able to grow your business. And one of the best ways that you and your team can free up time is to take things that you're doing manually right now and automate them. And that's the purpose of today's webinar, how to automate your business, how to almost run a business on autopilot where things happen automatically without you and even your staff and team members having to physically do the work, where things just automatically happen so you can go out, free up a ton of time, and focus on actually growing your business. Work on your business, not in your business. So let me first introduce myself. If you've never actually been on one of my webinars before, my name is Ty Crandall. I'm actually the Director of Business Services here at CreditSuite, a subsidiary of DisputeSuite. And what I do is I help people understand business credit, and I help people basically start offering business credit for their customers and turn it into a profit center in their business. My background is I used to own a credit repair company. I'm one of probably a few, if maybe the only person you'll ever hear from who has successfully built a credit repair company and sold that company. And in doing so, a lot of people even now today ask me, how do you do that? How do you build a company, especially a credit repair business from the ground up, and be able to sell it? Well, my answer to you is when it's done quickly, or when it's done and you build the business the right way, it's very easy to do. As a matter of fact, when I sold my company, it took me about 2 weeks to plug the new owner in and to step out completely. During that time, we told our staff that I was going to be moving into business credit. He was going to be handling consumer credit. And to be honest, it probably took a lot of our team a month to even realize that I was gone. That's how you effectively run a business. When you can pull yourself out and have it completely run by somebody else within a couple weeks, where nobody even really knows you're gone, when the profits stay steady and even increase over time, that's when you build an effective model. And in order to do so, it has to be based on efficiency. It has to be based on automation. You have to create a business, a company that could run without you being involved. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I tell people all the time, you have to create and run your business as if your ultimate goal is to sell it. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody on the call's ultimate goal is to sell your business. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. But you should structure your business from the beginning as if your intention is to sell it, because if you're doing that, then you're building a very, very successful model that allows you to run the business, not get stuck in the business in the day-to-day activities that, let's be honest, you shouldn't be managing. So that's a little bit about my background, my experience, what I'm doing today. Now let's jump in and talk a little bit more about the power of automation. So automation can help you grow your business quickly and save countless hours. It's really the purpose of what automation is. Now, what automation really consists of is kind of using software and other tools to automate processes that usually cost time, resources, and money. It's as simple as it is to explain. Automation is taking something that you have to manually do on your own now and creating a process using software or other tools where you no longer need to do that process, where now you come in and that process is handled for you without you having to do it. And we're going to talk about a lot of examples here, but this could include social media posting. It could include hosting webinars. It could include a number of different things, emailing and marketing your prospects, following up with your clients. All of those type of things can be automated without your direct involvement, which a lot of people don't know about. That's exactly what we're going to be diving into. So the prospect automation is one form of automation that you really should focus on because it really can easily double your actual sales. Now, I talk about this before in some of my webinars because, to be honest, this is probably the most important, if not the most important, one of the most important lessons I've ever learned in business is this. Over 70% of the people you're talking to at any given time, they're not ready to buy. And that's one of the biggest problems I see with every type of company that exists today. Everybody is trying to chase the 30% of prospects that are ready to buy. So somebody calls your company and they want to buy your product. Let's say it's credit repair. Let's say you're an accountant. Let's say you're an attorney, whatever it may be. And you answer their questions, but they don't buy. And sometimes you might jump off the phone and go, what did I do wrong? What could have I said better? But the reality of it is that most of the people that you're going to talk to, 7 out of 10, they're not ready to buy when you talk to them. They're thinking about it. They're interested. They like credit repair. They like whatever service it is that you offer. But the bottom line is they're not ready to buy. And the truth is there's nothing you could say to these people to get them ready to buy. They're not going to buy. They're not in a stage of the buying cycle where they're actually ever or where they're going to be ready to buy in the short term. So if what you're trying to do is actually focus on selling them, well, you're probably not going to succeed. The reality is that in a buying cycle, about a third of the people are, somewhat interested. They're in an interest phase of the actual buying cycle. They're interested, for example, in credit repair. They know they need it. They're interested. They're thinking about it. Then the next stage of a buying cycle is research. It's where they actually go online and start Googling credit repair. They start looking into it more. Okay, they start actually investigating it. They start making phone calls and asking questions. These people still are not ready to buy. Then you have the action phase of a cycle where people are ready to buy. This is where everybody advertises, everybody promotes, everybody markets, everybody spends money to get the people that are ready to buy right away. And I've said before that, you don't spend money to go get people that are going to be ready to buy in a year. Everybody spends money to get the people that are ready to buy right now. But in doing so, the entire country in almost all industries has forgot about the 70% of people who aren't ready to buy right now. The truth is, they come into you, you try to sell them, they don't buy, you call them a few times, you send them a few emails, you never hear from them again. This is the way most companies handle prospects. It's the way that it is. There's no formal, structured follow-up system in place to ever follow up with that customer if they don't buy initially. So all of a sudden, you got one shot to close them, and the sad thing is only 3 out of 10 of those people are even closable anyways. 7 out of the other 10 aren't even in a position where they're ready to buy anyways. So no matter what you'd say would close them, then it all becomes about how you follow up, how you market, how you automate or keep yourself in front of that prospect. If you do a good job, those people are going to go from being interested to doing research, and from doing research to buying, and they're going to call you when they're ready to buy. If you do a bad job, as most companies do, and you don't follow up with your prospects, then what happens is those people go call somebody else when they're ready to buy because they forgot about your conversation weeks ago. Okay, your average person sees 4,000 advertising messages a day. So even though you might have a great conversation with them, the truth is a week later, they're already 32,000 advertising messages deep. They forgot all about you. So in order to effectively be able to prospect, you have to focus on automating your actual prospect marketing. Because with proper follow-up, you can keep information in front of customers. You can establish that that you are their trusted advisor and an expert in your field, and the customer comes back to you when they're ready to buy. It's as simple as that. Prospect automation is one of the most important things you could ever do in your business. You have to automate your prospecting because, unfortunately, the best salespeople are the worst at follow-up. It's an absolute fact. Any study you look at supports that, including personality profiling. With personality profiling, your very heavy caloric personalities that are the best salespeople of any other personality type are the absolute worst at follow-up. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. A really good aggressive salesperson wants to close. So if they don't close the sale, they really have no interest in that prospect unless they believe there's an immediate chance that that sale is going to get closed. But if the sale doesn't close immediately, they lose all interest, and in most cases, there's no follow-up. Well, this is very dangerous for you because if you're hiring and running sales forces, the reality is no matter what you choose to believe, they're not following up. So you got a lot of people coming in the door. A lot of them are not ready to buy right away. Your salesman tries to close them. They don't, and that customer never hears from your company again. Not the right way to do it. But it's so easy to capture that other 70% by automating follow-up to them, by keeping information in front of them. And there's a lot of ways where you're going to be able to do that we're going to talk about in just a minute, through email, through text messages, through voice blast, a lot of these things that we're going to talk about. But if you do it the right way, those customers call in, they're in a research phase, they ask questions, you give them answers, they hang up the phone. Now, in most instances, they would forget completely about you, but not now because you've automated your prospect follow-up. So now they're getting voice messages, they're getting texts, they're getting emails with you about all kinds of information about the topic they called on. Okay, maybe they called because they wanted credit repair. Now you're going to send them information about how credit repair works and how the credit score works and how credit can be corrected and the FCRA and the FDCPA. They're interested in fixing their credit. They called you for that reason. So obviously they would love to get more information from you on that topic. You know they're interested. And if you're consistently automating your follow-up, keeping this information in front of them on a regular basis, then all of a sudden when they are ready to buy, you've sent them all this great information on the topic they're interested in. Now when they're ready to take action, they come back to you. That's exactly the power of automation. But there's a reason it's automated. You're not going to manually do it. Your salesman or you isn't going to call or email this person manually every 5 days. You're not going to send them a text. You're going to forget about that person just like they're going to forget about you. But if you automate those things, if you make those things happen automatically without your involvement, now all of a sudden you can build this massive database of people that you're prospecting to, all of which you know are interested in your product because they called you on it, and you're able to keep your information in front of them until they're ready to buy and be their first choice when they are ready to buy. Think about that. How many people have come in and called your company and not bought your product? What would happen if 30% of those people this year came back and bought your product? That alone could easily double, if not triple, your business. That's the power of following up through clients efficiently that can only be done if you actually automate that prospect. So instead of only selling the 30% of prospects that are ready to buy, now all of a sudden you're able to capture this other 70% who weren't ready to buy when you first talked to them. And you know the beautiful part about that? Everybody forgot about that 70%. Remember, everybody else in your industry is focusing on chasing the 30% that are ready to buy. You were just smart enough to capture that 30% and then create automation to follow up with the other 70% who weren't ready to buy. So all of a sudden, when they are ready to buy, everybody else is trying to capture them, and you don't even need to because you've kept your information in front of them so consistently that now they know who you are. You've ingrained in their subconscious mind, and now you're the first person they come to when they're ready to buy. Automation is essential with prospects to ensure the follow-up is done because, again, the most talented salespeople absolutely do not do follow-up. But really the same applies with your affiliates, right? It's essential to stand out and represent yourself as an expert with affiliates also. Because I like the, reference of coming back to credit repair because, again, it's the industry that I came from. It's the company that I sold. So in looking at credit repair, look, a mortgage broker, a real estate agent, a car dealership nowadays could be solicited by 5, 10, or more credit repair companies that want to get their business. So if you just show up at their door and say, give me your business, you need to do something that stands out. You need to do something to burn yourself into their subconscious mind so the minute they even think credit repair, they think of you. Okay, and this is really what automation can do. And I use this example all the time. I can only say Ty the credit guy, Ty the credit guy, Ty the credit guy, Ty the credit guy so many times before I say Ty and your subconscious automatically throws out the credit guy. That's exactly what you're doing here. You're keeping yourself in so much good information in front of affiliates on a regular basis that when they even think about the service that you provide, they think of you instantly. It's not even a conscious choice that they make. It's a subconscious choice that they make because so many times they've seen your information linked to, for example, credit repair, that now it's a subconscious link. Okay, automatically when they think credit repair, they think about you. That's exactly why you want to create this kind of automation with your affiliates. And in order to do so, just like with prospects, you want to send consistent, powerful content to your partners to stand out. Establish yourself as an expert and have them wanting to do business with you. It's the smartest way to lock down affiliate relationships. Look, in the industry I come from, credit repair, affiliate is what 95% of the industry does to get their business. They rely on affiliate marketing, okay? But you need to stand out. You want those affiliates to want to do business with you. You want them to see you as a credible expert. I come from the mortgage industry, and I can tell you in the mortgage industry, I thought I knew everything there was to know about credit. If you came in my door and you told me you were a credit expert, I would have laughed you out of my office. Then I got into credit repair, and I realized that I had no clue about credit. I didn't know about a mortgage industry option score model. I had pulled thousands of credit reports, and I didn't even know what score model I was looking at. I had no idea of the difference between score models. I didn't know how the credit score actually worked. I didn't know that every item on a credit report had to be 100% accurate, verifiable, and timely, or the law required it be removed. I didn't have any clue on any of these things, but yet I thought I did. I thought I was the most knowledgeable expert in the world. And as a credit repair owner, I walked into mortgage office after mortgage office and real estate office after real estate office where those people looking at me were the exact same way. They thought they knew everything there was to know about credit when the truth is they really didn't. So this kind of automating and keeping regular information to affiliates about stuff that they should know but don't, again, things like how the FICO score works, how it's broke up into 5 parts, what part accounts for what percentage of the score, how the FCRA works, how the mortgage industry option scoring model works, why models are different. All of these type of things your affiliates don't know. But if they're getting regular messages about you about these topics, then all of a sudden they look at you in a whole different light. They don't look at you as somebody that came in their office with a 5-minute spiel trying to convince them that you knew more about the topic than they did when they believe they know it all. All of a sudden, little by little by little, you're teaching them, really in a respectful way, how clueless they truly are. You don't have to call them out for being clueless. You could just tell them stuff they don't know. And then all of a sudden, they're going to start paying a lot of attention to the information you're sending them and appreciate it all. Because now all of a sudden, they're going to call you and go, hey, can I put this in my newsletter? Can I put this on my blog? Can I advertise this? Because my clients would love to get this. That I never knew this, and I know they don't know this. All of a sudden, they start to treat you just as their preferenced title agent and their preferenced realtor. They're treating you in their inner circle. They're putting you in their inner circle. You're now their credit expert because little by little by little, you're teaching them things they didn't know before. And in doing so, just like prospect marketing, you're creating a subconscious link. So when they hear Ty the credit guy, Ty the credit guy, Ty the credit guy, all of a sudden when they see a customer with credit problems, they think of you first. That's exactly what you've done for prospects, and with automating affiliate automation, then you're doing exactly the same thing. And let's not forget about client automation. With higher client volume, more people are calling in and needing maintenance. Wow, was this true? Look, when I started a credit repair company, I had goals of high volume. Unfortunately, I didn't anticipate the high volume and how that would relate to an increase of customer service, meaning that the more customers we picked up, hundreds, thousands, what happened was more people called in, more people emailed us, more people had questions, they needed help. They got these stall letters in the mail from the bureaus and didn't know what they were and called us to find out. They were 40 days in and didn't get their first results and didn't know why. They called us to find out. Okay, and what we found was that people were calling in for exactly the same questions all the time. Well, guess what? That client maintenance takes time and costs money. As a matter of fact, the majority of the time and money spent in running the credit repair office had to do with managing the back end, and in large part had to do with managing the clients, the customers, the clients that actually had signed up, paid us money, and now they had a million questions they needed answered, and they were going to call us and email us and leave messages in their portal until we answered all of those questions. Well, guess what? Automation can do this job for you. It saves you a lot of time and a tremendous amount of money. Okay, even with thousands of clients, you can have one person manning the calls. How is that even possible? Automation. By automating, by knowing, hey, your clients are always asking the same questions, so I don't know, why not answer those questions before they're even asked? Why not, just as you did with prospects and affiliates, why not educate them? Now all of a sudden your service is worth a lot more value, because on top of whatever your service is that you're providing, such as credit repair, now you're teaching them, you're educating them on top of providing the actual service. Okay, so it's really, really, really essential, because now all of a sudden you've got all these clients to manage, and instead of having people manually manage those clients, answer their questions, get them what they're looking for, you can automate this process, answer their questions before they're asked, and do it in a way where the client now isn't calling in, isn't emailing, isn't coming in all these different directions trying to get these questions answered, taking up all of your time and money. So 3 great ways that you can actually automate your business: prospecting, dealing with affiliates, dealing with your active clients. And now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how you can automate, how you can do those things, how you can automatically market to prospects, how you can automatically manage clients, how you can automatically market and solicit affiliates without having to manually do it and take the time and money to do so. Well, one of the best ways, my personal favorite, I'm an email lover, is email autoresponders. So what an email autoresponder simply is this. It sends emails automatically in set increments of days, like every 5 days. So what an email autoresponder is you create an email sequence. Okay, and let's say email 1 says the anatomy of a FICO score. It explains that the FICO score has 5 components. And email 2 looks in deeper at payment history and how payment history affects 35% of the score, and you know what you can do to maximize that part of the score. Then email 3 is 30% of the credit scores made of available credit, and the importance of getting new credit cards and keeping the balances low in relation to the limits and how important that is into the overall score. And then email 4 has to do with the fact that 15% of the score is derived from time in the bureau. Okay, and that they can use, authorized user accounts to get longer accounts or create longevity and help raise their score. Okay, so now all of a sudden you've got these 4 or 5 emails created. And then what you do is you send email 1 the first day you talk to them. And then 5 days later, they get email 2 about 35% of their scores made up of payment history. Then 5 days after that, they get the next email about available credit. 5 days later, they get the next email about length of time in the bureau. That's what an email autoresponder will do for you. It will allow you to do what I just described automatically. All you'll do is take the person's email, put them into a sequence, and once that email autoresponder sequence is started, you do what you were going to do anyways. You forget completely about the prospect. right? Because if you're marketing to a prospect, you forgot about them, they forgot about you. That's what happened. You talked to them, you didn't make the sale, they went away, you followed up a few times, they didn't buy, you didn't talk to them again after that. So now what happens is all of a sudden you didn't go away. Yes, you did. You forgot about that customer. You moved on about your life. You're not even thinking about them. If somebody comes up to you 2 weeks later and says Joe Jones, you don't even remember who Joe Jones is. But something else interesting has happened. Joe Jones, he knows who you are because every 5 days you're sending him an email. Now, you're not manually doing it. It's not taking you any time, energy, or money to do that. It's just automatically showing up in his email address every 5 days. Now, Joe thinks you're emailing him. He appreciates it. He feels indebted to you because you're taking the time to send him an email every 5 days about a topic you know he's interested in, which is fixing his credit, because after all, it's why he called you. So Joe appreciates this. He almost really feels indebted to you, feels compelled to do business with you when it comes time. But look, the problem is Joe's not ready to buy right now. He's not ready to fix his credit. He's not going to be ready for 3 more months. And then in the next 3 months, every 5 days, he's going to get an email about something relating to his credit that's going to interest him because he's very interested in fixing his credit. That's exactly what email automation will do. So now in an environment where you would have forgotten about Joe and Joe would have forgotten about you, now we move on a month later. You've still forgotten about Joe, but Joe knows very well who you are. And Joe is all of a sudden starting to trust you more and more and more and more because he knows you're an expert. You're sending him all this information about credit he didn't know. No one's ever explained to him. It's real simple in a short, simple email that he gets every 5 days. He sees your face, Ty the credit guy, Ty the credit guy, Ty the credit guy so many times that now 2 months later when he even thinks about taking action and fixing his credit, you're the first person that pops into his head because now it's not even a conscious decision. You are the expert in that field. He trusts you. He feels like he knows you. And the only thing you got to do is figure out who Joe is when he calls because he's going to call and go, hey, Ty, it's Joe. I'm ready to fix my credit. And I'll be honest with you. It'll freak you out. It freaked me out when I first started marketing this way. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Don't you need to be sold, Joe? But the truth is, Joe didn't need to be sold because what I didn't realize at the time was I was selling him every 5 days when I sent him an email about a topic he was interested in. Now, let me be clear. For effective email autoresponders, you can't solicit. Don't solicit them. Don't push and say, hey, my prices are $99 a month. That's crap. Keep it out of it. What you want to do is one thing and one thing only. Teach the customer everything you know. Tell them everything. It's called information marketing. You want to get them the information. You know they came to you for whatever the service is. Let's say credit repair. They came to you for credit repair. You know they're interested. So give them all the information you could give them about credit repair. Send it to them in little increments every 5 days on a particular topic. All of a sudden you're solidified in their mind as a credit expert. They come back to you when they're ready to buy. Exactly the same thing for affiliates. All of a sudden you're teaching these affiliates every 5 days something they didn't know. You're keeping yourself in front of them. Now when they deal with the customer with credit problems, subconsciously they automatically think of you. There's not even any conscious thought about it. And the best part about all of this is you're capturing the 70% of people you would have lost without doing anything. You're not doing anything. All you have to do is take a little bit of time each month to create the emails. Okay, sit this month and create 8 emails. Put them in every single week to get started. Well, that's 2 months. Now next month, start and write 8 more. Write 4 more. Okay, through the month, write down topics you think would be interested. Get in there, write a short email. It's going to take you an hour a month just to write out 4 or 8 emails. But in doing so, now you've got another month or 2 months worth of follow-up. And if you keep doing this month after month after month, in a year, you're going to have an automated follow-up sequence which lasts a year and a half, 2 years. So all of a sudden now you could put one person's email into the sequence, and for the next year they're going to get automatic emails coming from you on all different kind of topics that they're interested in. It's the best way to capture that other 70% of prospects and affiliates that you would have lost. And you could do the exact same thing about clients. In our business, in credit repair, what we found was every customer called in about the same time frame. They called in 2 weeks, and they said, I got this letter from the bureau, and it's saying they don't have my IDs, and I'm scared, and I'm freaked out, and I don't know what to do. In the credit repair industry, we call these stall tactic letters. Well, we knew when the client was going to get them, so all we did in a week and a half was we automatically sent out an email and said, hey, you're going to get stall tactic letters. Click here and see a page on the website that you could see exactly what these letters look like. We explained what the stall tactic letters were. We explained what we were going to do and that we already knew that they were being sent and what corrective actions we were going to take. And all of a sudden, you know what happened? The phone stopped ringing. People stopped calling for that. So the next thing we did was we taught everybody how FICO scores work. Here's how the FICO score works. You have to have positive credit to have a positive score. Here's a place you can go to get a ton of positive credit. So we taught them exactly what they needed to do to make sure their score was high because, again, we saw deletion after deletion after deletion. The customer would call in and go, hey, my scores aren't going up. Well, Mr. Customer, your scores aren't going up because you have 0 positive credit. You need to add positive credit. We got so sick of having that conversation with the customer that now through videos, we taught the customer how to get new credit, gave them places they could go to get new credit, taught them that their scores wouldn't go up unless they added new credit, and then all of a sudden we put that in their email autoresponder and told them that on a regular basis. Guess what happened? Our phone stopped ringing about people asking why their scores weren't going up. Now all of a sudden everybody knew what they needed to do to get their scores to go up. And this is what we did every single time somebody called in with a question. They called in with a question, we wrote an email and put it in the follow-up sequence. And after 6 months, our phone stopped ringing. Every question that anybody called and answered or asked, we had already answered with them through email in an automated follow-up sequence before they even asked the question. So all of a sudden, we were able to handle hundreds, even thousands of clients with one communication specialist. Only one person to handle all communication for the company because all of a sudden we were automating the follow-up and telling the clients what they needed and wanted to know before they even asked. And these sequences, these automated email autoresponders can be triggered in many different ways. First, you could manually put somebody in the sequence. Another way you could do it is actually to fill out a form. So you've seen before that you go to somebody's website and they say, get a free ebook, give me your email address. And you say, well, that's a good deal. I give you my email address, you give me a free ebook, I'm in. Here's my email address. Then all of a sudden they have your email, and now just because you filled out that form, automatically the emails trigger. So now all of a sudden, if you're pushing people to your website, they're clicking to get a free ebook, they're getting your email marketing without you even talking to them. How brilliant is that? Now the customer didn't even have to call in and talk to you to get marketed. They went to your website, they said, oh, free ebook, free course, I'm in on this. They give you their email. Now all of a sudden you're automatically marketing to them anyways, and they never even called you. Now that person calls in 3 months later and goes, hey, it's Joe, I'm ready to buy. And the funny thing is, nobody in your company's ever talked to Joe. He just feels like he knows you because he's been getting all these emails, and he started getting these emails because he was originally interested, went to your website, entered information, and then all of a sudden these emails triggered automatically. So there's a lot of different ways you can trigger these emails. The most effective ways to do it is by manually entering somebody in the sequence or having them go to some place like a web form. They fill out the web form, they trigger the sequence. The most effective marketing we ever did when I owned a credit repair company was a 30-day do-it-yourself credit repair course. We taught people how to fix their credit. Now, right away, you might just jump off the webinar. You think, this guy's nuts. He's crazy. He's lost his mind. He's trying to sell credit repair by teaching other people how to do it themselves. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of before. I'm with you. Me too. It took me a while to swallow that pill. But once I did, I realized that, hey, guess what? Credit repair is confusing. The average consumer doesn't know it's confusing. They think they can do it themselves. Okay, I'll teach them how to do it themselves, and I'll teach them in doing so how confusing it really is. I gave them 100 letters and told them to choose which one was best. I taught them how Eoscar worked and OCR and how the fonts needed to be changed and the colors of each font, how they needed to just add random paragraphs of Spanish in the letters so the computers couldn't read it. I taught them all the tactics, and in doing so, we showed the customer how confusing the process really was. And yes, some went through it and did it on their own, but the most came back when the course was done and said, that course was awesome. Can you do it for me? Because all of a sudden, for the first time ever, they saw the value in the service we were providing. For the first time ever, they now see, hey, guess what? This isn't easy, something I could do on my own. Now I see how complicated it is. Now I'm going to solicit you guys. Now I want to buy. And all of a sudden, all of this happened automatically. They went to our webpage. They signed up for our course. Other people talked about our course. They sent other people to our website. And all of a sudden, they opted in. They got those emails. When those emails were done, they got our normal emails. And now all of a sudden, all these people were calling us to buy. And we never even had to market them or solicit them. They went to our site. They went to our websites. We had a lot of them. They opted in. They started getting this kind of marketing. So email autoresponders are fantastic for client management, for affiliate marketing, for customer marketing. And there's a lot of companies that offer this, okay? Aweber, Infusionsoft, iContact. You don't have to write all these down real quick. If you go to Google and type in email autoresponder, you're going to pull up a ton of companies that do this. Aweber, iContact are pretty cheap, 15, 20, 30 bucks a month. Infusionsoft's what I use. It starts at $200 a month. It's a lot more expensive, but it's got a shopping cart and a bunch of other stuff you might or might not need. I highly recommend Infusionsoft. I love Infusionsoft, but the reality is it's not always cost effective. It's a couple $100 to get going, and nowadays I think they charge you a couple thousand to even get started. So Aweber, iContact, no startup, 20, 30 bucks a month, real cheap way to do this. The most important investment you'll probably ever make into your company. Another way you can automatically follow up to customers is through webinars. Automated webinars are very powerful for prospects, affiliates, and clients. Okay, and what an automated webinar is a webinar just like this that happens automatically. Okay, and I'm going to give you a webinar company to actually check out here in a minute. But so what I'm going to do, let me give you an example. This webinar that you're on right now is live. Well, unless you're listening to the recorded version, but if you're here with me today on this call, it is currently live. And what I am going to do is I'm recording it right now. This webinar is recorded. When I'm done with this webinar, I'm going to send it to my virtual assistant, which I'll teach you more about here a little bit later. My virtual assistant is going to plug this recorded webinar into our automated webinar software. Okay, she's going to send me a PowerPoint to record an intro video. I'm going to record an intro video, and then I'm going to move about my day. But 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, people are going to be attending this webinar thinking it's a live webinar. They're going to go to the webinar, they're going to register, they're going to go to a webinar room, it's going to show attendees, it's going to give the exact persona that's a real webinar. But in reality, it's not real. It was really one that was recorded quite some time ago that just looks like it's a live webinar. Guys, you talk about being in 2 places at once. Can you imagine hosting 5 webinars in one day? Imagine if you could do that. In our credit repair business, that's what I was doing, actually 2 a day, 3 someday. Every single day, we had 2 to 3 different webinars running you could attend. One was on the FICO score, one was on the FCRA, one was on, whatever. So what we would do is I would do these kind of webinars, record them, put it into an automated webinar. Then we would put on our website, hey, attend a webinar. This Monday we're doing a webinar on the anatomy of a FICO score. Click here to register. They would register. They would go to that webinar, gives the persona of a live event. But in reality, it was a webinar that we had pre-recorded. So now all of a sudden we were able to eventually do 2 or 3 automated webinars a day that looked like live webinars, and a lot of people would come to these webinars, hey, I'm at a live webinar. It was another way to get them information, and again, all we had to do was do one live webinar one time, make it real, record it, and then all of a sudden it's available for playback and people will see it weeks, months, years down the road thinking they're attending a live webinar. Literally, it is the best place to be in two places at once. So you should really try to host at least 2 to 4 webinars each month. I personally do these kind of webinars every other week, so I do 2 a month. Okay, you should do one once a week, once every other week, especially in the beginning. Record them all, and then that way you could set up your automated webinars for future use. Evergreen. If you type in Evergreen webinars, they are the best one out there. Now, if you really like me when this webinar is done and you're interested in Evergreen, you could send me an email, and I'll give you my email at the end. It's ty@creditsuite.com, and I will send you a special affiliate link to Evergreen. Hey, I'd love to earn an affiliate commission if I could. So if you're kind enough and you're to take this information and say, hey, Ty, I'm going to do it, send me an email, and then let me send you my affiliate link, and hey, I'd love to get an affiliate commission on you enrolling. It's great. But you'll notice I'm giving you the company name not because I'm greedy for an affiliate commission, because to be quite honest with you, Evergreen's phenomenal. They're awesome. They're outstanding. I've used Evergreen for years. They're one price, and then you're done. You don't have to pay monthly. I used a service when I first started automated webinars that was $99 a month. I had invested $3,000 into the service because I was being charged every month. Evergreen is less than $500, one-time payment, no monthly recurring, and you can have all the automated webinars that you want to have. It's a service I use. I only recommend services that I really think highly of and use, and Evergreen automated webinars is the best out there. So now again, you do a webinar every other week, every week. You record it. You set up the automated webinar. That webinar is available for playback. Now on your website or somewhere, you just need to give people the option of opting in and registering for your webinar. You know where's a great place to promote your webinars? In your email autoresponder. Okay, so now the customer's getting email content from you every 5 days, and then every 3, 4, 5 emails, they get an invitation to attend one of your webinars. Well, these are your pre-recorded webinars. So now all of a sudden you're starting to commingle this stuff. So you're doing a great email autoresponders, but instead of just giving them emails, you throw in some videos to give them some information through video, and you throw in some information where they can attend these automated webinars. One of the best ways, again, to be in two places at once. Phone call automation. Well, a lot of people don't know that you can actually automate phone calls. But automated phone calls can be left directly on clients' voicemails. So all of a sudden, let's say, I'm going to give you a real example. In our credit repair business, we thought it was a good idea, and what we found was that people stayed with us longer. Our retention was better if we reached out to them on a regular basis. Well, we didn't have the time to do that. We didn't have the time to reach out to the client on a regular basis. So instead what we did was plug in automated phone calls. These calls would go right to their voicemail, their phone would never ring, and it would say something like this: hey, it's Ty, and I'm just calling to give you an update on your credit status. Wanted to let you know things are going great. You got a dispute letter round out that's out there right now. Hey, don't forget to check out your website. It's www.da-da-da-da-da. On the website, it gives you a bunch of information on helping build your credit score. By looking at your file, it could definitely benefit you to add some positive credit, do some of those things. So check that out. Again, I'm just checking in. If there's anything I can help with, give us a call. Let us know. Here's our number. Boom. Customers like, that's awesome. They're calling me just to check in. Nothing to say, just calling to touch base. But guess what? It wasn't a real call. It was a pre-recorded call. It was a message that we had pre-recorded that we delivered right to their voicemail where they believed it was a real call. It sounded like we'd really reached out to them and called them, but in reality, it happened automatically. And the best part is, in a lot of these companies, you can add these right to your email autoresponder. So now 5 days they get an email, 5 days they get an email, 5 days they get an email that links to a video, then they get another email with information, then they get an email that links to a webinar to register for your webinar, then all of a sudden they get a phone call from you just touching base, calling to see how things are going. Okay, that can happen automatically. You don't even need to manually do it. And they can be delivered at set time increments or based on a trigger, just like emails. So something can happen that triggers these calls, or you could space them out that in every 15 days they get an automated voice call from you. Okay, a couple services that offer that is Infusionsoft and CreditSuite. Okay, our actual software does this. Infusionsoft does it too. We use it. Okay, I use it. And again, I'm only telling you stuff that's helped me build and sell several businesses in the past, especially the credit repair business and stuff that I use now. So automating your phone call is a very, very, very big benefit to you because, again, your customers, your clients, your affiliates can hear from you on a regular basis without you ever taking the time to pick up your phone and call them. Another thing you can also do is SMS text message automation. Okay, so another thing you could do is send text messages which can automate your follow-up process. You know, the majority of people in surveys show that they would rather get information through text than other sources. It blows me away because when I first started doing text marketing, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was intrusive. I don't like to get a lot of text message solicitation, so I personally felt it was intrusive. But when I started doing it and surveying people and then looked at national surveys, I realized most people prefer to be communicated with nowadays through text messages. A lot of them do. Now, I'm not saying it's a good idea to start texting people every day, soliciting them, okay? But if you send a prospect a message every once in a while with a little tip about their credit, the same with an affiliate, right? Hey, you send them a text message. Hey, it's Ty, the credit guy. Just wanted to remind you that 30% of your credit score is based on available credit, so make sure you get credit cards with high limits and keep your balances low to really raise your credit scores. Pretty cool text message. If you're sending something like that every once in a while to affiliates and customers, again, the same as emails do, it keeps your information in front of them and lets them know again that you're the expert in the field. The problem again arises if you're only sending text message solicitations. Hey, we're having a big sale today. Crap, crap, crap. Don't just send them solicitations. Give them free information. You know they're interested in it. Okay, they came to you for information on the topic, or they're your affiliate that could benefit from that. So send them just, a text message once in a while with just some more free information. It's another media you can use. And just like emails and just like voice messages, these things can be set off by a trigger or set off in increments. Now, remember to tie all the stuff together. That's what you should be doing. So now all of a sudden, you've got a customer, you've got a client, you've got an affiliate, they're getting emails from you on a regular basis, they're getting text messages from you on a regular basis, you're following up with phone calls years after you talk to them, just touching base with them, and what the receiving party doesn't know is all of this stuff has happened automatically, you've done none of it. Now think about two things. First of all, think about how much time this is going to save you. How much time is this going to save you if all of this stuff that was done automatically and you don't need to do it? And secondly, how many more customers are you going to get? How many more affiliates are you going to get? How many more clients are you going to keep? How long is your client retention going to be, keeping in mind the fact that all of a sudden they're getting all this information from you they've never gotten before on a consistent, regular basis? Several companies offer that: CreditSuite, Tatango, Easy Texting. Tatango, Easy Texting, I don't know that much about them, to be honest with you. I just went out and typed in SMS text message automation in Google, and they pulled up some companies. I did a little research there. Obviously, I use CreditSuite because, I work here, so it's easy. But those are some companies that actually offer it. And again, keep in mind, I'm giving you other solutions here. I'm not just trying to pitch our software by any means. I actually sell the business credit component, not even our actual underlying software itself. So that's not my priority here. My goal is to teach you how to do something and give you several sources that you could actually go to solicit to actually do so. So SMS text message, a very, very effective way to automate. Another is social media automation. Okay, social media is something you have to do. I'm not even giving you a choice. I mean, there's over 1 billion people on Facebook, and you can advertise on there for free. So why you would not want to advertise for thousands of people at no cost baffles me. So I'm just going to assume that you do and say you have to do it. Everybody should be marketing on social media, because whether you use Twitter or not, a lot of people, like 200-300 million people do use Twitter. So you can't neglect 250,000 plus people that do use it. Okay, the same with Facebook, the same with LinkedIn. Okay, the same with a lot of different things. I'm on Zing. I'm on and I'm on everything. If you get emails from me, look at my email signature. I've got like 12 different social medias I'm part of. You can't neglect social media. Most people are on social media. When they're on social media, they're not thinking about work in a lot of cases. It's a perfect time to hit them. Okay, a perfect time to be able to get a message to a customer is when they're moseying, just kind of goofing around on their Facebook page. Now all of a sudden they see a marketing solicitation or they see an email about the credit score. Okay, so again, it's another way to keep your information in front of the customer. You couldn't send them an email every day. You couldn't send them a text message or a voice blast every day without really being annoying. But you could post on your social media page every day. They could see it on their news feed every day, and they're not bothered by it. That's the beauty of social media. You could do this every day, whereas email marketing, text messages, phone blast, you're only going to do that stuff once every 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, depending on the marketing. But with social media automation, you could sit there and post on all of your social media every single day, and that one message that you post for free could literally be seen by thousands, if not tens of thousands of people. That's the beauty of social media. Now, for it to work, everybody that you talk to needs to be invited to follow you on social media. Well, how do you do that? I don't know. Email autoresponder? So now all of a sudden in your email autoresponder, you can say, hey, like my Facebook page. And what I like to do is in the Facebook page, in the photo section, create a new album, call it free stuff, and just put a link in there where they could download one of your free reports. Now you can send them an email and go, hey, like my Facebook page, then go to my photos and click on the link to download a free report on demystifying the FICO score. Well, now all of a sudden, you're giving them something in exchange. Hey, like my page, and I'm going to give you a free report. And now all of a sudden, a lot of people are going to start liking your Facebook page, not because you asked them to, but because you put an email in your autoresponder. Again, you've forgotten about this person. You're not even thinking about him. You didn't talk to him but 3 months ago, and now all of a sudden, they're on there liking your Facebook page, following your post every single day on social media just because you put an email in your email autoresponder. They got it, they wanted the free ebook, and now all of a sudden they join in. So social media marketing is fantastic, but there's a lot of different social media out there. So companies like Hootsuite, Post Planner, HubSpot, these are companies that you can automate your actual social media. You could put the post that you want to put in there and say, I want this to be delivered on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. I want this one to go Monday, this one to go Tuesday, this one to go Wednesday, this one to go Thursday. So now all of a sudden you could pre-program what posts you want to go out, and you could put them in one spot and have them go to all of your social media. It's one of the best ways you can actually automate that actual social media. Now, another way you can do is you can create websites. One of the best things we did in our clients with credit repair was to create a client website. Okay, the client website was basically where we put everything. So the email autoresponder would always push into the client website. Hey, go to your client website to apply for new credit. Then we would punch in a bunch of affiliate junction commissions or commissionable credit sources. So go here, get this credit card for bad credit. They would get it. We'd get paid $5, $10. We didn't do it to make the $5 or $10, although the extra commissions were nice. We did it because the client legitimately needed help with positive credit. So any resource the client needed, we added to their client website. And it was a great way to automate what used to take a lot of time. They would call in, hey, how do my credit scores work? Well, now we put a 5-video course on how credit scores work on their website, and now all of a sudden we would just push them to the website through their emails, and they would learn all about their credit score automatically without us having to do it for them. We would put cease and desist letters on there, packets that help them answer summons. We would put links to prepaid legal in case they got into legal problem. We would put videos on all different kind of topics. We would put links to the seminars, the webinars, so they could attend the webinars, all that stuff on the client follow-up site, and it gave us just an absolute way to automate the process. Remember, there's a lot of one-page websites out there too called squeeze page website, landing page websites. For example, we had one, freecreditrepaircourse.com, I think, or freecreditrepaircourse.net. They would go, there's one page, it was a video, an opt-in form. They would go, they would opt in to get the course, and then all the email and the marketing would automatically start. So now all of a sudden we're using websites to automate our prospecting prospect too, because we would put a website up, we would do a little SEO, people would go to it, they would be interested in our free course, they would opt in, all the automatic marketing would start, and we wouldn't even be doing anything for all of it to happen. Contractor automation. Contractors can help automate your entire business, and what contractors are also called virtual assistants. Okay, they can do just about everything you could possibly imagine. They can set up automated webinars, do social media posting, keep logs, set up your email autoresponders, and a lot more. You can go to a place called odesk.com, odesk.com. You can go to freelancer.com. You can go to elance.com. Odesk is my favorite. You can hire virtual assistant contractors to do just about everything you could think about doing for as little as 50 cents an hour. Don't worry, I'm not talking about slave labor. The truth is, in other countries, this is a lot of money, and in some other countries, they'll work for 50 cents a dollar an hour. They're very blessed to have a job, and they're the most efficient workers you could possibly get. Now, there's a lot of United States workers on there too. It just depends on what you want to do. But for example, I've got somebody doing social media posts for me every day. They don't use Hootsuite. They manually get in there and post new articles and stuff every day, and it costs me $2 an hour. The truth is, I'm not going to pay somebody $10, $15, $20 an hour to do that. If I didn't have somebody at $2 an hour, I probably wouldn't do it. But because I have such cheap contractors available through those type of sites, then all of a sudden things I wouldn't normally do, like posting on social media every day, I can now automate. My webinars, right? When I'm done with this webinar, I give my webinar to my virtual assistant. She plugs it in. She sets up the whole automated webinar. She creates an email promoting the automated webinar and puts the email in the email follow-up sequence for me. I love my life. That is automation. I do a webinar, send her a recording, she puts it on YouTube so we can get more attention on YouTube. She creates an automated webinar with it. She creates an email template promoting the automated webinar, puts it in the email sequence. I did none of it. It all happened automatically without my involvement. These type of contractors can do so much work you do that you'd be blown away at how much work you do they could do for you, and now all of a sudden it's automatically done. My logs are all tallied monthly automatically. So much stuff happens in my world automatically that I don't even think about because my contractors are doing all this work behind the scenes for us. So contractors can do a tremendous amount of stuff for you and really can help you automate your company. And don't forget, you can advertise too automatically. Facebook, pay-per-click. These are things that you could decide how much money you want to pay per day, per week. You could put, this is how much money I'm willing to pay. You could let them loose and forget about it, go about your day, and you should, if they're effective ways of marketing, then you should start getting leads coming in the door automatically. Facebook and pay-per-click are very effective ways to market. And if you put these on autopilot with a set sum of money that you're willing to dedicate, you literally can actually advertise and automate your actual advertising. And again, if you're doing a pay-per-click or Facebook ad, pushing them to a squeeze page, now they go to your squeeze page or landing page. Now they opt in to get your ebook or course. Now all of the marketing to that customer happens automatically and you didn't even think about it. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you learned a lot from today. My goal is for you to get at least one great idea, and I really hope that you got one. The point is that you should not be working in your business. You should be working on your business. Your whole business should efficiently run almost automatically by itself without your involvement, with you to be there with the sole purpose of growing the company. If your business isn't like that, you can get it there through all the things we talked about in this webinar. By automating your prospecting, your marketing to affiliates, your client follow-up, by using emails and text and voice blast, by using contractors and websites to do a lot of the stuff you're manually doing now, you'll save a ton of time, ton of money, and can literally, as I said in the beginning, turn your business into an automated money machine. So I don't have time for questions today. I'm literally getting ready to jump into another webinar. If you do have any questions, you can email me, ty@creditsuite.com, ty@creditsuite.com. Give me a ring at 877-600-2487. And if you have any interest in making money, visit CreditSuite.com too. There's a ton of information about business credit building, and we've got a great way that you can easily sell business credit funding to your clients and make a tremendous amount of money. So if you're interested, check out CreditSuite.com. If I can be of any assistance, send me an email, give me a call. Thanks everybody very much for taking the time to attend this webinar.